Welcome to the Vand Review.
All right, welcome guys to our Got Pain meetup. This one's about health and nutrition. It's informal. I want you guys to, ask questions, talk, and hopefully we'll learn something along the way here. Most of you know us. I'm a registered nurse. My husband William, he's a sports medicine, sports nutrition, and both of us have done a lot of research on supplementation and nutrition through research through the medical journals. This lecture is for informational purposes only. We're not diagnosing anything, promising you any cures. All right, so the hard truth is being healthy requires daily discipline. There's no magic pill or shot, and there's no one size fits all program. There's three types of people that we've met. So, type 1 don't really have any interest in making any lifestyle changes. These are the kind of people that they say, well, let me see your research, let me see the information, I'll decide for myself. And if you give them any advice, they'll counter with their own advice. Type 2 are generally interested. They get excited, they ask questions, they take notes, but they lose interest anywhere from that day to a week to a month, and then they end up not doing anything. Type 3, the most rare, decided they want to make changes, are willing to do the work, and don't have any excuses. So we met a few of those here and there. Amber's one of them. Richard's one of them. So good job, guys, for being one of the type 3s there. So we used to talk about supplements, but we realized that one, a lot of people have metabolic issues that need to be taken care of first. So just recommending supplements without knowing what your gut issues are. If you're not absorbing nutrients, we recommend you supplements. They're not going to work. We also need to address like any prescription medications, drugs, alcohol. Those have to be addressed first before you just start on supplements. Supplements also have to be taken correctly at the right times in the right combinations. So when you're kind of just, taking some general information and just kind of rolling with it on your own, a lot of times you're not going to get the results that you want. And, when we talk about clients, client A, John Fitch, who's an actual client, he already had a pretty clean diet. He's already disciplined. He's already healthy. The conversation that we're going to have with him is going to be way different than the conversation we're going to have with client B there. Okay. Client B is starting at square one, where, John Fitch is starting a lot further along. So fixing your gut health, some people it's a major overhaul, some people it's minor tweaks. If it's a major overhaul, you may want to talk to a nutritionist. If you crave a lot of sugar and carbs, you may be battling candida in the gut, and so that's something that has to be addressed as well. Alcohol is low dose poison. I mean, that's how it works. That's why it makes you feel relaxed at first, makes you feel goofy, and then will, alcohol poison you. So it's not something that if you're trying to get over some kind of health condition, you need to not drink alcohol. If it's something that you have fixed your health conditions, you want to have it on the weekend or at friends, but if it's something that you're drinking every night, you're basically dousing your gut with a low dose poison. So you can't have healthy gut and drink alcohol. Also, antibiotics, whenever you take those, they wipe out all your gut flora. The bad grow back faster, so that's something that has to be addressed as well. Heartburn 101, so predigestive and digestive enzymes. Everybody needs those, especially as we get older. Our body's ability to digest food and our own digestive enzymes decreases, so it's good to supplement with those. You need to avoid ice drinks with meals. Ice drinks kill your predigestive enzymes, which come from your saliva and start to break down food before it goes into your gut. So when you take an ice drink, it neutralizes those. The food goes into your gut. It doesn't have that predigestion. And then also you're dousing your basically the acids in your stomach with a bunch of ice drinks. So you can have drinks outside of meals, but with meals, you just need to have room temperature drinks. Proton pump inhibitors, if you take things like that for reflux, they're linked to a significantly higher chance of esophageal cancer. Antacids also aren't good because basically you want your stomach to be an acidic environment to be able to digest the food. And so if you're having a lot of heartburn, you feel like your food doesn't digest, it's sitting there for a long time, it's probably because one, you're either drinking a bunch of fluids or a bunch of ice drinks, and then it's basically your food floating in this big bowl of liquid that your stomach acids are trying to get in there and mix up. So if you have those issues, those are a couple of simple things to look at. Other basic precautions are meal sizes, not eating huge meals, not eating right before bed, super spicy foods, greasy foods, chocolate, that kind of thing. Anybody here have issues with heartburn? A little bit? Okay. So a lot of times, for some people, just getting rid of that ice drinks with your meal can make the difference. All right, so just some of the basics, which most of you guys should already know, but sugar, too much in any form is bad, including fruit. Okay, so if you're, drinking giant fruit smoothies or, loading up on tons of fruits, it's still sugar. You still need to limit the amount that you have. soda, even if it's diet, natural, whatever, even without sugar and caffeine, carbonation is still bad for you. Okay. So if you like your fizzy drinks, your sparkly drinks. So the thing with soda, one is that if it's a cola drink and it has phosphorus in it, the phosphorus directly pulls calcium from your bones. The other thing with the carbonations, if it has citric acid, that directly helps the carbonation decay your teeth. So you get both of those. The other thing is, even if you just have a sparkly drink, it doesn't have phosphorus, it doesn't have citric acid, there has been a study done where just drinking the fizzy drink increased your hunger hormone. And so that people that had a fizzy drink and then ate more than people that didn't. So if you're looking at weight loss, if you can wean yourself off of the fizzy drinks, I know some people have an addiction to the fizzy drinks, but getting away from the carbonation is the best route to go. And sometimes you have to like take baby steps to get there. Like, start with a natural soda that at least has regular sugars, or, get away from, the Dr. Peppers and the Mountain Dews and the Coke, and hopefully you're not drinking any of those. Read labels. If you don't know what it is, should you eat it? Artificials, they're what they say they are. They're artificial, they're not food. And as a general rule, if you shop the perimeter of the grocery store, that can minimize your processed food. So the perimeter of the grocery store will have your meat counter, your bakery counter, your fruits and vegetables, and then all this stuff on the inside is your frozen food, your packaged food. So the majority of stuff you should get should come from the outside. And then stuff from the inside should just be staples that you need, like pastas and stuff to make your dishes. Make better bad choices. If you're going to eat the Oreos, then buy the organic Oreos. you know if you're going to get a cake, get the cake at Whole Foods. I mean, if you're going to, you can't, live in a bubble where you eat perfect every single meal. So if you're going to make a bad choice, look at what your choices are and see, can I make a better bad choice? It's not quite as bad for me. Everyone should be filtering your water. If you're not filtering your water, you're getting fluoride, arsenic, chloride, pharmaceuticals, microplastics. If you are using the filter on your fridge, all that does is improve the taste. That's not removing a single thing out of your water. Okay. If you have like a Brita or a Pure, again, primarily taste improvement, a little bit of chlorine, any kind of sedimentation, but you need to look at, we recommend the Berkey filter. I'm sure all of you have heard us talk about it. If you actually want to get the fluoride and arsenic and some of those microplastics and that kind of thing out of your water, you need a more serious filter. Everybody should be taking probiotics. It's a given in the world we live in. You need probiotics.
The probiotics, is there, I know they have like recommended doses.
Right. Yeah.
Can you OD on probiotics? Can you take too much?
If you take too much, you could get like a bloaty, gassy feeling. I mean, it's not going to do anything. At some point, there's only so much space in your gut for the little microbiome, and you're just going to be pushing too much through. And you can change your microbiome in like a 24-hour period. So the only thing that really I could say you OD on them is if you're getting a bloaty, gassy feeling, you might have too much activity going on in there, if typically from taking the probiotics. But you should be supplementing at least one a day, every day. And then, of course, you can do things like the kefirs and the yogurts and the other things that have the natural kombucha, things that have the natural probiotics in them. So your gut is your primary source of serotonin, which is the feel-good chemical. It's also a primary part of your immune system, and so you really are what you eat. If you have a healthy gut, you're going to have good health. So let's talk about some health foods that are not healthy. In the dairy category, so alternative milks, your soy milk, your almond milk, your hemp milk, all they are is sugar and thickeners. Let's think about an almond and how much liquid comes out of an almond. How many almonds do you think you'd have to squeeze to get a gallon of milk out of an almond? Right? And it's the same, soy milk has way too much estrogen in it. Men should absolutely never be drinking soy milk. It's basically like a cup of soy milk is like you taking a birth control pill. So don't do it. Your yogurt can be good for you. Majority of the yogurt on the shelf is mostly sugar, artificial dyes, bad ingredients. So when choosing a yogurt, you need to be looking at, is this actually, if it's Go-Gurt or Yoplait, it's not a good yogurt. Right. And then milks and cheeses need to come from cows not treated with RBST or RBGH. It's recombinant bovine growth hormone is what it is. So basically, it's this hormone that they give to the cows to make the cows produce more milk. What it does is it causes them to get udder infections, which means they have to give them antibiotics. When they started using this, they actually had to increase the amount of white blood cells or pus that was suitable in milk to be able to continue to sell it. So gross. So they'll tell you, you'll see things that, oh, there's no difference between, cows not treated with this. There is a difference. They have to treat those cows with antibiotics. It basically raises their temperature, causes infections, but it causes them to produce more milk. It's totally not natural. You should always choose milks and cheeses from cows not treated with this. It should say it on the packaging. It doesn't necessarily have to be organic. So your best choice is going to be organic dairy from cows not treated with RBST. Raw milks and cheeses, if you can get raw milk, great. There's a lot of raw cheeses available. Also, when you get dairy products, fat is good for you. The whole low fat, no fat craze was bad for people. And so when you can, choose whole, full fat dairy products. If you can, choose a plain yogurt, add your own honey or fruits or whatever you like in there. Okay, any questions about the dairy part? Yes.
When I go to the market to go look for yogurt, I very rarely find whole or even yogurt that has delicious creamy fat.
I know they do at Whole Foods. They've got a couple brands.
That's the secret.
Yeah. I don't know if HEB unfortunately has been phasing some organic stuff out. I've noticed that some of the stuff is disappearing, but you just try Whole Foods. I know they have some brands that are even grass fed, and they definitely have some brands that are whole fat. Sometimes your Greek yogurts too are a good choice for finding the full fat ones. Any other questions? All right, so health foods that are not healthy, we're talking about grains, seeds, and nuts. So your whole wheat, your brown rice, your whole grains, they're actually not better for you. You're better off choosing white bread or white rice. The reason is that because when a seed has a shell on it, your body has to work to break that shell down. And what it does is it pulls minerals in to break that shell down. If you don't have enough minerals in your system, and it's going to pull those from your bones to help you break down all these whole grains. Okay, so the whole grains craze was a bad thing. If you're thinking, well, we've always had whole grains in the world, right? Well, what people used to do is they used to soak their grains. So back in the old times, if you were having whole wheat, you soak it, you let the enzymes break down those phytates for you, you make the bread, and then you don't have to do all that digesting and pulling minerals from your bones. Oats are some of the worst offenders for the phytates. So there's a big, everything healthy has oats in it. They love to put oats, oats everywhere. You can still have oats, but you should get whole oats and you should soak them. Beans also have the phytic shell. And so if you're doing beans, you need to soak the beans overnight, then you drain off that water. There's also quicker ways you can do it where you boil it or boil it with like vinegar to break down that shell for you, and that way you're not pulling minerals from your bones. Corn falls into that category, and nuts fall into that category. Okay, nuts can be healthy for you, but the quantity that people eat them in is not. A serving of nuts, you can see right here, should fit into your hand. Okay, and I know most people when they're having nuts, you're eating a whole lot more than the little palm of your hand there. You also want to not take your supplements with nuts and these heavy fiber kind of things. So your best choices with breads, sourdough is actually the best choice. Sourdough, when it's made with those enzymes that help start breaking it down for you, and so it's easier to digest. Your next best choice would be a white bread. Obviously with breads, you want to look at the ingredients. If you can get bakery breads or breads that don't have a lot of shelf stability ingredients, those are going to be better for you. You can get sprouted grain breads. You can sprout your own grains. I don't know anybody who actually has time to sit around and sprout grains. It sounds nice. If you want to do oats and beans, you just need to soak them first. And then you can do nuts, but do nuts in moderation. Right, any questions on that one? Yes.
Go ahead.
Does that include peanut butter? Nuts in moderation?
Yeah, so peanut butter, it's still in moderation. It's still a fibrous food, so you wouldn't want to take that with your supplements. You can still have it. And again, just, a serving, a big tablespoon or whatever. But yeah, it's okay.
So did I miss that? You don't want to do fibrous foods whenever
You don't want to do fiber with your supplements because that just helps pull your supplements out. Yeah. Okay. You had a question?
Oh yeah. So am I understanding this right? That staple things in many type of cultures for thousands of years is today bad?
So like rice is not bad. But when you go to the brown rice, you're making your body break down that shell in the rice. So majority of like Asian cultures, they already ate white rice, and then we started to get this idea that it needed to be whole grain to be healthy. The other thing is with like the wheats and that kind of thing, typically when people made it, they either soaked it or they broke it down first. But when you're doing the actual whole grain with the shell intact, then your body has to break that down.
So the key is the fiber, is my understanding?
So the key is breaking down that shell, either breaking down that shell through manually breaking it down or through letting it soaking it to get the enzymes to break it down, so that when you're eating it, you're not eating it in the. So basically, like when you go to the store now and you buy whole wheat, I mean, it's got actual wheat kernels that have the shell intact. It's not broken down at all. It's got, chunks of little seeds and stuff. Those are what your body has to pull minerals to try to break that seed coating down. So it's not like wheat's not bad for you. Whole wheat, if it's broken down or it was sprouted first, is not bad for you. But when you're actually taking like the whole wheat shells, which is something fairly new that they started doing, they started kind of the whole wheat craze maybe like 10 years ago. So it's just, yeah, like beans can be very good for you. They do have a lot of fiber, but in the past, they would soak the beans, get those enzymes out. And then it's kind of, we got away from that. So you need to take that extra step to be able to enjoy these foods.
Or you just cook it for a long time like beans, because most of the stuff like beans.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to put it in chili, but you can have beans by itself. It's like a 12-hour cook, 24-hour cook. Is that okay then?
Yeah, so like I said, you can either soak it overnight and drain the water off in the morning and it starts to break it down, or you can look it up, but there's ways that you can like boil it faster to start to break down that shell before you cook it.
Oh,
And you want to drain off that water.
You could boil it
Mhm.
and just let it soak.
Yeah, and then drain off that water that you.
gotta get rid of the water.
Mhm. So health foods that are not cereals. So, obviously, your Fruity Pebbles and your Captain Crunch, those are terrible. But they market a lot of cereals. Your Cheerios and your Raisin Brands as being heart healthy and good for you. The fact of the matter is, cereal is a completely and totally dead food. Typically, the way they make it is it's high expeller pressed, which means they make a slurry of whatever it is, and they shoot it through a machine at super, super high heat to make a ring or a flake or whatever shape you're desiring. At that point, it has zero nutritional value left to it. They go back and they spray it over with a vitamin coating to make it have the vitamins that they say that it does. Okay. So it's there's no, even if you get an organic cereal, it's still the way that it's made. It's not good for you. Choose something else to eat. Skip your cereals. Fake meats, hopefully you all know that those are not good for you. If you look at the ingredients, they're a science experiment. They're full of soy, fillers, MSG, all sorts of bad things. You're better off just eating the meat. Just eat the animal. So your best choices are going to be real meat, but from healthy animals. So you want to look for animals that are pasture raised, not hormones, not antibiotics. Organic, grass-fed, free range. You always want to avoid your nitrates and nitrites. Those are added to a lot of lunch meats, bacon, sausages. Those are cancer causing. You want to stay away from those. Again, raised without antibiotics and growth hormones. Beef, pork, chicken, turkey, all clean meats are okay. Any questions on that part? No. Okay. Health foods that are not seafood. Yeah.
Turkey, all clean meats are okay.
Yes.
What are clean meats?
Clean meats, in meaning that it came from a healthy animal that wasn't. Yeah. That.
I thought it was something like.
Oh, not like a religious form, but no, the animal came from a healthy environment. The animal wasn't in a little teeny pen being force fed antibiotics and hormones. Yeah, they actually were not a stressed sick animal. Yeah, and if you have your religious issues or vegan vegetarianism, we're not talking about that. But if you're choosing to eat meats, just choose it from an animal that was healthy. So health foods that are not seafood. So unfortunately, all seafood, fish and shellfish nowadays, and this did not used to be in the past, are contaminated with microplastics and heavy metals. Okay, and that's something that has been growing and worsening. You also had things like Fukushima, the radiation in the water, but the microplastics, with our enjoyment of plastics, there's floating oceans of trash. Okay, the plastics break down until they're little teeny microscopic plastics that actually get into the fish, into the flesh of the fish. And then, of course, the mercury in the water. And it's something that you honestly can't just be eating fish every day. You can't. And it's worse the higher up the food chain you go. So if you have a fish that's like on the bottom level, it doesn't have as much as, say, like a tuna or a mackerel or a swordfish that's up on the top level, because every time that fish eats another fish down the level, it's accumulating more of the mercury and the microplastics. So it's always been a thing. Like if you can look at a can of tuna, it'll say that you're not supposed to eat it more than once a week. And that's because of the level of mercury. And there's been instances where, parents made their kid a tuna fish sandwich every day and the kids end up with mercury poisoning. So, yeah. So, it's, people, if you are going to choose fish, obviously choose wild caught versus farm raised. Farm raised is basically they feed them soy pellets. They're in a pen, an enclosed area. They're giving them antibiotics typically. So it's like kind of the same thing of it's not a healthy animal. You can choose a wild caught over a farm raised and then try to choose fish that aren't high up on the food chain. So it's not as concentrated. But again, something you might enjoy like once a week, or you might skip altogether. Okay. Yeah.
What besides mercury is considered a heavy metal? Like is aluminum?
Aluminum is a heavy metal. Yeah. I don't know what else are there. Lead. Yeah.
There's a tons of heavy metal. As a matter of fact, all you guys are probably inhaling or absorbing probably about 500-600 heavy metals a day. It's in the air. You're breathing it right now. There's lead, there's nickel, cadmium. All these are heavy metals, and you have it in your water, your air, your foods, and that's another thing with understanding how to pull heavy metals out. That's another story, but it's everywhere. You can't avoid heavy metals.
Yeah. And that's something that's obviously gotten worse with time with the the cars and the factories, also whatever it is they spray up in the air. um, Things accumulate over time in the environment, and unfortunately these things we don't get rid of and they end up in our food. So what should you eat? Meats and eggs from healthy animals. So your eggs as well are better coming from a healthy animal than an animal that was penned and fed the antibiotics and hormones. Fresh fruits and vegetables. Again, the fruits in moderation, because too much fruit is too much sugar. Dairy from healthy animals. If you can afford to, always choose organic. And then read labels. If you don't know what it is, look it up. If it looks like a science experiment, don't eat it. So I took this directly from HEB's website. This is their strawberry buttercream chocolate cake. Okay. Buttercream, yes. So I highlighted, and it's kind of small, but I highlighted some of the worst ones for you in red there. So we got propylene glycol. Okay. That's basically to make things feel slick. It has no nutritional benefit. Some people have allergies to it. We got, of course, our artificial flavors. We got pyrophosphate sodium propionate. That sounds good. We've got our artificial dyes, which are typically made from petroleum products. They can also have titanium dioxide in it. Not only are they carcinogenic, but they're also neuroexciters. So, you feed a kid a bunch of artificial dyes and they're like, ah! That's why. It actually gets into the brain tissue. Sorbitan, carrageenan, I don't even know what the extra is on there. And they also have carrageenan, and we'll talk about that inside. Sodium benzoate is a preservative, and that's also carcinogenic. So basically, what all this is, if I go buy a cake at Whole Foods, and Whole Foods cake has, butter, sugar, flour, cream, that cake at Whole Foods is going to be really good the first day. The second day, it's going to start to get a little mushy. The third, fourth day, it's kind of starting to get gross, and it probably needs to be thrown out because food is supposed to decay. It's normal. I promise you that this cake I can leave sitting out on the counter for a month, and it's going to be the same. Because they basically made a frankenfood that is made to have all these ingredients in it to make it stay the same. So it feels the same, looks the same, but this is no longer food. Okay. And there's nothing there that's good for you. And so when you look at a food product and it's got a laundry list like this, just don't buy it. If you want, you can sit there and look up all these ingredients and how bad they are, or you can just make a better bad choice. Okay. All right. Any questions on that one? No. A special note on cooking oils. So some of you may know the answer already, but what is canola? Do you know what plant canola comes from? Corn?
No?
Is that the answer that we're going to say? No.
Anyone ever use canola?
Yeah.
In the past.
Okay. Yes. It is not corn oil. Corn oil is corn oil. Okay. Canola comes from the rapeseed plant. So the rapeseed, so basically Canada needed a crop product. In Canada, it's difficult because of their short growing season. It's very cold up there. Rapeseed grows well up there. Rapeseed was originally used for like oiling machine parts, and it was actually very toxic. What they decided to do was they bred the plant to get that toxin down, and they went, well, we can't sell rapeseed. Nobody wants to buy rapeseed, right? So Canada oil, canola, and that's how you get your canola oil. Okay, canola oil is at high heats becomes trans fats, which I'm sure you all know trans fats are bad for you. It's also, from a plant that we had to get the toxins low enough out of and basically make it not machine oiling to make it an oil for you to eat. It's not healthy. Don't choose canola oil. It is okay to use butter. Again, like I said, fats are not bad for you. Always choose butter over margarine. Olive oil is good. Not all olive oils are created equal. When you see that it's a blend, sometimes that means they blended things like canola with it, especially with some of your cheaper brands. So you need to look at get an organic olive oil. Make sure it's not blended with other oils. Coconut oil is good, but it must be cold pressed and unrefined. Okay. If it's not, then it's rancid. Okay. So if you're getting a coconut oil and it's refined, it means they high heated it. They cooked all the good enzymes out of it. And then, so basically the cold press and unrefined is the coconut oil in its natural state, which is what you want to use it for. And it's actually good at cooking at high heat. You can also use palm oil, which comes in a solid form, is also good for cooking. One last note on carrageenan, because carrageenan you'll see even in organic foods. Carrageenan is a thickener. It's made from red seaweed. Since they started using it, it's been linked to inflammatory bowel diseases. So some products actually started to pull it out, but you will still see it a fair amount. So you totally want to always look for carrageenan. If it's got carrageenan, nope, get something else. All right, any questions on those? So toxins in your home. So this one we're not going to go too in depth because it'd take forever to go over, but basically you should all know by now that you shouldn't cook with Teflon. Okay, Teflon, when you heat it high, it actually gases off a toxic gas, which is where we've talked about if you have a bird in your home and you're cooking high heat on Teflon, you can actually kill the bird. You also shouldn't be cooking with plastics. Over time, as you scrape and use and wash and scrape and use and wash, little bits of plastic are coming off of those. So you should be cooking with either like stainless steel. With your utensils, use metal utensils. Silicone utensils are fine. You want to reduce plastics in your home. No styrofoam ever. Okay, styrofoam's terrible. It gets in your body can't get rid of it. It's there forever. A lot of fragrances in the home. A lot of people love their candles and their Scentsies and their Febreze and all their sprays. Those are typically made from petrochemicals. They're typically carcinogenic. They're typically toxic. So there are better bad choices you can make on those. You need to look into the product. In general, though, you shouldn't be fragrancing your house to death. Okay. For your skincare products, I'm going to ask you to do your homework on this and look up the Dirty Dozen in your skincare products. But basically, there's tons of ingredients, both in your skincare products and your foods, that are actually banned in other countries. And unfortunately, the FDA, being a government agency that can be bought off, lets lots of things in that are not good. And so, especially for women, the amount of skincare products that we use, the makeups that we use, there's all sorts of stuff in there that are carcinogenic. There's stuff in there that's linked to lupus. And so, look up the Dirty Dozen, look at your skincare products. Do they contain those ingredients? Do you maybe need to look at switching? There's also PFSAs, which you might be hearing about more now. They're called forever chemicals because they don't go away. They're there forever. They can be in your cleaning products. They can be in stain resistant coatings on furniture and carpets, and they can be on your nonstick cookware. And so whenever you're purchasing a large new product that you're going to be bringing into your home, do some research on making the best choice with those. There's some, like if I'm going to bring a sofa into my home, then I'm going to look at what's in that sofa, what's it coated with, is there a better choice I can make? It might be more expensive, but do I really want to sit and lay in those chemicals, for hours on end? Some products too, if they're smaller products, you can actually off gas them a little bit. So when you bring it home and it's got that smell, put it outside in the sun for a little while, let some of that off gas out. You also should consider the fill in your pillows and your bedding. Do your homework on those as well. A lot of times those are actually really toxic. They're just, the high density foams and that kind of thing. So you may want to look at, if you're buying new pillows or buying new bedding, make sure you're looking at that before you bring those into your home, because those can be a really heavy source of toxins.
Those forever chemicals are in a lot of clothes too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And always, when you get new clothes, wash your new clothes. Yeah. You can't, it's impossible to get away from all of it. You just want to try to reduce as much as you can. And definitely look at, your cleaning products. There's definitely better choices in cleaning products than the really nasty toxic stuff. So, yes.
Bedding that has like all these memory foams in general, and even pillows that have that. I could smell that stuff. Is that stuff bad?
Yes. Yeah, the stuff that's off gassing is bad. And it's going to be worse when you initially get it. They do make things like, they'll make memory foams and they'll call it CertaPure, which means that what they used to make it was cleaner than, a bunch of petrochemicals that went into the stuff that smells really bad. So you can make better choices there. If you get it and it smells bad, you should off gas it, like in another room. If you can't put it outside, let those gases get off, because basically, you're laying in a gas cloud of chemicals.
Yeah, just real quick, just mention what the chemicals can do.
So they can do things like memory fog, make you feel groggy. I don't know, what are some of the other things? Oh, asthma. They can cause asthma, respiratory irritation. Yeah.
Remember the same thing as airplane seats. And you have those things which are also.
Yeah, that's one unfortunate thing about flying, is they coat everything with flame retardant chemicals, because if you crash, they don't want you to all burst into flame, which is a good thing. But yeah, your seats and everything are absolutely coated with flame retardant chemicals whenever you fly. Yeah. Mhm. Yep.
So we buy cute pajamas.
Mhm. They're flame
Yeah,
retardant.
they have these big old tags on them that are huge that are like, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just, when you're buying stuff, just consider, obviously, like I said, you can't get away from all of it, but you can reduce it as much as you can. Okay. So your gut needs sleep. You need that rest and recovery time, that repair time. If you're not getting good sleep, you're also not going to have good gut health. We've talked about sleep hygiene at some of our stuff in the past, like, not looking at your cell phone, having white noise in the room. Anything that emits like a blue light is actually disrupting your sleep patterns. So, if you need to look at your phone, you can put the blue light reducing filter on there. Some people fall asleep to the TV. Having white noise, like a fan or something in your room. If you're still having trouble falling asleep, a lot of people turn to melatonin. Melatonin is 99% synthetic melatonin that you're going to get. Where does it come from? Sometimes it comes from pig's brains. A lot of it comes from petrochemicals. Yeah, yes. It used to come more from pig brains, but then they started really making it synthetic and coming from petrochemicals. There are like rare brands that come from a plant-based source. The problem with melatonin is it's a hormone that your body produces naturally. When it's time to go to sleep, the lights go dim, your brain releases melatonin, it helps you drift off to sleep. When you're taking it artificially, you're telling your body, I don't need to make melatonin anymore, and you're actually decreasing your body's own ability to make melatonin. So we don't recommend melatonin. There are better choices. A lot of people use magnesium. Magnesium does relax smooth muscles, so it can relax you and help you fall asleep. There's a lot of different forms of magnesiums. You need to be aware of the kinds that are basically laxatives, your magnesium oxide and your magnesium glycinate. If you are taking those to go to sleep and having to loose stools, that's your reason why. We have formulated our Got Sleep product, and we used ingredients that we used to recommend people go buy these ingredients individually. We put them all together, but basically they're amino acids, so there's no side effects to them. It's not a hormone. It's not something you're telling your body that it doesn't need to make anymore. L-theanine promotes relaxation, so you kind of just drift off to sleep. Taurine, people use it for focus, but basically what it does is it quiets rambling thoughts. So if you're laying there thinking about bills and thinking about what you got to do tomorrow and thinking about the kids, it just kind of quiets all that, focuses your brain, lets you go to sleep. And then we added N-acetylcysteine, which is called the mother of antioxidants. Basically, it's a building block to glutathione, and glutathione is what your body attaches to these different toxins that we're talking about and helps pull them out of your body. And so your body produces glutathione with some building blocks. NAC helps produce more. The reason you can't just take a glutathione pill is because it'll get broken down in your gut and it won't go into your bloodstream. You can take glutathione as like a sublingual, but the best way to produce glutathione is actually to take NAC. So obviously, we love our sleep product because there's not any other like it that has these ingredients. So you're getting those to help you drift off. You're also getting that NAC, that antioxidant builder, while you're sleeping in your gut. It's not gonna, you can take it, literally I've taken it like an hour before we needed to wake up because we, fell asleep on the couch, got up, we only had an hour left. Still go ahead and take it because it's not gonna knock you out. It's not gonna make you groggy to where you can't wake up. Any questions about that one? No. Your gut also needs decreased histamine. So when your gut produces too much histamine, histamine is the chemical that releases all these inflammatory things. So when you have allergies, histamine gets released, then it releases all these other inflammatory chemicals. You get the runny nose, you get the sneezing, you get the itchy watery eyes, but you also get histamine in your gut. Okay, and histamine in your gut also releases those inflammatory chemicals. You get inflammatory issues in the gut. So there's foods that you can eat to try to decrease histamine. You can also take things to decrease histamines. Over-the-counter antihistamines, those increase your risk of Alzheimer's if you take them on a daily basis, your Claritins, your Zyrtex. Basically, the way that they're working is that they're like shutting off something rather than helping you decrease it. And then, of course, you look at like your pink Benadryls that have your artificial dyes that we talked about earlier. So a natural alternative, stinging nettles, quercetin, bromelain, elderberry is an immune booster. These are things you can find them in other products. We also made a product called Got Allergy, has these in there. And so if you have allergy issues or also inflammatory gut issues, taking a histamine decreaser can help. Okay. As a lot of you know, we also have our other products that you guys use. You know well about our St. Jude's Miracle Oil and our Sinus X. We still have those. Your health and nutrition, working with a nutritionist. So we're looking at just, clean up your diet, make some changes. If you have bigger health issues than that, then you may want to talk to a nutritionist. So hormones issues, low testosterone, libido issues, diabetes, joint pains, arthritis, autoimmune disorders, insomnia, anxiety, migraines. If these are like daily issues, then cleaning up your diet might not be enough. You may need to add some supplementation, make some bigger changes. And those are things that we recommend talking to a nutritionist for and not trying to tackle on your own. As you know, William is a sports nutritionist. He's also a naturopathic practitioner. These are some real images of some clients that we worked with. And so this one from 2017 to 2018, if you look at some of his bone density and his disc space, we actually increased some of his disc space and increased his bone density through correction of his nutrition and through supplementation. When he came to us, he couldn't even bend over. He was in pain. He was able to bend over, not be in pain. Anything else you want to say on that one?
So, yeah, he had a second back surgery when he was going through some personal, emotional, like psychological things, some issues at home, things like that. He had a lot of depression. There's the picture on the left, right? 17? Okay. So we know this is the spine, correct? This is called the lumbar region. You can see his hip where the two bolts are at. Those are the fusion. That's what happens. Spaces are what's called the disc space. When you have your cartilages in there, the one that wears out. Has anyone ever had a back problem? Don't lie and say no. But what everybody knows, what happens to your discs, they shrink. So if everyone got an X-ray right now, what would it show? Probably has some degeneration, blah, blah, blah. Your doctors always will tell you, medicine says that you can get fusion. That's the other lower one. That didn't help. He was agonies on painkillers, etc. No. If you guys look, probably the biggest comparison is look at the top disc. Can you point it at the very top?
Yeah, so up.
The left, the other one.
Yeah, up here.
You see that disc? How there's no cartilage, there's no disc. Look at the second foot. You see we regrew that?
So, but yeah, it happens generally as people age and with accidents and stress and injuries. Basically, these disc spaces start to close down. These little knobs coming off here, those are actually bone spurs that start growing off and start causing impingements and pain And so and also as your bone density goes down, it worsens that. So keeping that good nutrition, that good bone density can help prevent some of that. This is a client with type 2 diabetes. We made a minor nutritional correction. This was his fasting morning blood sugar. 24 hours later, he went from 203 one morning to 109 the next morning. Okay. This is a client, worked on his neck. Again, the big thing here, you can definitely see the difference in bone density. So you see how these are almost translucent? You can almost see through those. That's not what you want a good bone density to look like. And you can see that his bone density there is improved. And so he also had a 10 of 10 pain, insomnia, depression, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. And this is our veteran that we worked with. We did a podcast on that. Some of you may have seen.
He actually went from a severe degeneration disc phase. It's the worst kind of surgery. It's 5.5 months later. It's actually reduced to mild. So he's regrown his discs back, the bone density back. But this is where this is coming from is actually the radiology report. This is not our opinion. This is what the actual radiology report. We got the X-rays. They have to read and stuff like that.
This is a knee. They did a complete ACL tear and reconstructive surgery, Baker's cyst, pain in the knee. Through nutrition changes, you can see the improvements in the joint space. Okay, that's the patella on the front of the knee. He got rid of the Baker's cyst. He got rid of the pain. He increased the bone density. So these are just some things that can be done through nutrition.
So what happened was an accident he had, but there was no cartilage. That's just basically bone and bone. The second one you can see, there's plenty of disc space. One other thing, because when she's talking about bone density, if you look at the left, you see it looks like kind of crumbling. Look at the bone density on the right. You see it's like a solid, like piece. And anyway, those are, look at the year. Oh, it's 18. That's like, man, that's a lot of 5.5 years, something like that. So
yeah, and then if you ask any doctor, they'll tell you that you cannot regrow cartilage. That's not true. But according to Western medicine, it is actually possible. So William has also helped clients with libido, stopping testosterone pellets, getting off narcotic medications, stopping antidepressants. Clients have had improved vision, which we verified through ophthalmology exams. If you haven't seen our documentary, You Got Pain, probably most of you have. I recommend that we watch it. It's a lot of information. And then it's about what you want to do. Hopefully you learned something today. First step is just make some small changes. If you saw something in there that you're like, uh-oh, then go home and make that change, clean up some of those toxic products. If you feel like you have greater issues that you need more help with nutrition, then see a nutritionist to talk about correcting your diet, maybe starting on a supplement program that's designed specifically for you. I've definitely seen people who go out and buy like an entire product line of supplements. They have no idea what they're actually doing. They actually make themselves sick. So never recommend doing that. Aside from our 2 products, we don't sell a supplement line. When we recommend supplements to people, it's actually products that you can go get on Amazon. And we recommend products that, have good ingredients and not a bunch of bad stuff in it. All right, any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you. I hope you guys learned something. I appreciate you coming. Okay.